goal setting is a sign of confidence, commitment, autonomy, and motivation. What happens when you don't have a goal?
Disadvantage of not setting goals is when there is no result, your effort becomes nothing, which is not supposed to be like that.
Just by setting and having a good, strong goal with a strong why, strong intention, it was enough to get them to be motivated again about fitness, to take care of their life outside. So that just shows the importance of setting goals.
When you set a goal and when you execute those goals, it is effectively you taking control of your life.
Welcome to the Move Well, Live More podcast, where we discuss topics from exercise and nutrition to health and lifestyle tips for your overall quality of life. Hello, welcome to another episode of the Move Well, Live More podcast. My name is Rachel, I'm your host today, and I'm joined by the team that started this show with me from the very beginning, the OG of our podcast, and they're here today to help me wrap this season finale of our podcast. Woohoo! Yeah, and also we'll be having a powerful discussion about how you can set yourself up for success, for breakthroughs in the year coming ahead. But before we go into that, everyone, please introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm May.
I'm Peng.
I'm Matt.
And she's Rachel.
And today we're going to be having our last episode. We're going to be talking about setting effective goals for the new year.
Thanks for the save. Okay. Wow, guys, I really can't believe that we've arrived here. It's been 13 episodes already.
Wait, what? 13 already?
Yeah,
I believe
and
it's
today's-
our 14th.
Yes, this one is the 14, but it's been already 13 episodes before we arrived at the 14. Maths. So, what topics have we talked about? Do you guys remember?
Stress.
Navigating around pain.
Yeah, that was the recent one.
Nutrition.
Nutrition, of course, our nutritionist says so. What else? Benefits of exercise and nutrition has nothing to do with fat loss.
Yeah, our first one.
Yeah, that was our very first one, right? And speaking of the first one, when we started this podcast, do you guys remember what was our mission or our hope?
I remember one keyword, empower.
Educate.
Educate.
Inspire.
Wow, okay. So let me put that all together.
Into a sentence.
Yeah, into a proper sentence. So our hope was to educate and empower so that more can have the knowledge and the tools to improve their quality of life and also to overcome any struggles they have in their wellness and fitness journey. And we really hope that to all our listeners out there, it has been helping you in some way or another. And it's been very meaningful to hear feedback from people around me, like friends and clients, even fellow coaches who felt like, hey, this helped them articulate methods better or thought process better. And personally, right, I've learned so much just from being on this podcast, you know. So speaking of that, there's a saying, in learning, you will teach. And in teaching, you will learn. So for me, the journey of this whole podcast really has been rather fulfilling, but I would like to hear from you guys. Can you share with me how has it been for you personally?
I can go first. So I used to be, or I am still more of the geeky person among my friends. So I find it sometimes a bit difficult to kind of like share fitness or health knowledge because I will geek out. But now with a podcast,
why is it hard?
when we have conversation, everything is, very light and funny, and then suddenly I talk something very serious, right? And it just feels like, oh, I'm just pouring a cold water to the whole environment. So it's just not so nice lah. But somehow in a podcast context, it just makes the delivery a lot more meaningful. And I've shared it with my friends, and of course they are very supportive as well. And it's really nice to hear from them that they also learn a lot from the podcast, which I'm not the best person to inspire my friends, but I'm glad that I'm able to share what I know with them.
Hey,
and then
limiting belief.
well, I'm a different person when I'm not in a coach identity. Put it that way. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm really glad that I have this opportunity to share it with my friends, and I'm really thankful for their support of listening to our podcast as well. So
Shout out to May's
Yeah.
friends.
Thank you.
Nice. What about you, Peng?
For myself, it was getting reconnected with some of my high school friends that
Oh, wow.
I haven't spoken to them in about 5 or 6 years or so, and they say, hey, you're in the new podcast. Was it something to do with Move Well? And be like, oh yeah, I'm part of the co-host for the Move Well, Live More podcast. So it became a conversation starter for an opportunity for me to reconnect with a lot of them. And amongst my existing friends, they shared quite a fair bit of pointers like, hey, I quite like your voice, but maybe if you could sound a little bit more cheerful, for example. And I was like, okay, point taken. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, you do sound a little bit more cheerful today.
Thank you. I guess, hey, pointers work. Thank you, guys. But yes, so for myself, this really gave an opportunity for me to reconnect with a lot of sort of long lost connections. So,
and in those connections, do you feel like they've received anything as well from our podcast?
I've recalled the episode where actually our recent one with training around pain and injuries.
With Luke Lango.
Correct. Because a few of my friends, they are some of a seasonal marathon runners on a yearly basis, and they've accustomed with training around pains, and it's sort of like brush it off and say, oh yeah, got some pain and it's fine.
Very
I'm
relatable.
sure all of us have come across that. But now they started paying more attention to it, and again, shout out to Luke for contributing to the episode, because for myself included, I've definitely taken quite a fair piece of advice from that as well.
Nice. What about yourself, Matt?
Pretty much the same as May and Peng. So the new friends who I would not normally talk about, exercise or nutrition with, they reached out to me like, hey, your podcast on stress eating was very informative, right? So I was like, oh wow, and then it sort of opened up conversations where I could see where they're at with their journey, and then we can talk a bit. Yeah, and then on the other side, like some of my clients where I least expect them to like watch, I remember one of them was like, we had a session and she was like, oh wow, your podcast on this topic was really good. And I was like, but the podcast only released like 30 minutes ago, and the podcast is 40 minutes. How you
listening to it at 2
so I was
times
like,
speed?
okay,
Yeah.
but it was very nice. Like maybe those sort of more quiet clients who listen, it was another avenue to just like share more with them. Yeah, so in that way, it was very impactful for me to be on this podcast.
Yeah, I love that. Especially like what I'm getting from all of you is that this podcast became a tool that we could use as talking points to help people open up about the topics that we talk about, where they might be struggling or where they might want improvement or where they find that it's very relevant to help them in their current baseline, right?
Yep.
So, and also like, I've heard some of our coaches, right, tell us that a lot of their clients, similar to what you said, Matt, right? They came to the session and I just listened to that podcast and now I understand why it's neat. Now I'm going to try to improve my sleep hygiene by doing this. That's very cute. And we hope this kind of conversations continue to become like very natural and continue to inspire people to just do the little things that help them improve in their wellness and fitness journey. But personally for me, right, I find the coolest story is my own friend who I got to edit our podcast episodes, right? Shout out to you, Alicia.
Thanks, Alicia.
Thank you.
It's so cool. Like I was just asking her how has it been editing the podcast so far. She said actually it's very enjoyable, and I like every time we meet up, she starts telling me that she's learning so much, and I can see, right, the outcome is that she's also become more gung-ho in her own fitness journey, her own nutrition, her own energy management and everything, her sleep. She was just telling me, she's doing things to help improve her sleep, and she really see how that affects her day. And for me as a friend, that's really, really cool. Like I'm indirectly influencing. So we would love to hear more stories like this. If you guys want to share and just leave it in the comments, let us know, and it will really be a huge encouragement for us to keep doing what we do. But yeah, let's talk about which episode has been your favorite and why. Okay, I'll start first. It's also quite recent, an episode with CJ and Jason, our co-founders, about what's stopping you from achieving your breakthroughs. I'm really a fan of these kind of things lah. Actually, more than the science, I always like all these meaningful, inspirational stuff. I'm that kind, okay?
Okay, science is not inspirational.
It is. Yeah, maybe, wrong way of saying it. But I like this kind of stuff that help us understand, address our belief system, help us think about why we do what we do. Or I feel that, if you don't have all this, you can keep doing what you're doing. You can have all the tools to execute on your goals, but at the same time you can end up feeling very unsatisfied and still lost. So yeah, that was a very impactful episode for me, especially with the illustration Jason gave when he said about the apple tree. So basically he said that if a young apple tree has not produced any apple fruits yet, do you then say that that apple tree is no longer an apple tree? It's an orange tree or something else? No, it is in the process of becoming fruitful, and it needs to be in the right environment, right conditions, nourishment to continue to grow and be that fruitful apple tree it's meant to be. That drives a lot of ideas for me, about life and things that I do. So that's me. What about you?
Okay, so personally for myself, I really like the one where Matt, you hosted Adele, 5 misconceptions about eating for fat loss. So which part caught my attention was the part whereby you guys discuss about carbs.
Yeah.
So we all know that carbs are not essential, but when both of you touch on the topic, I like how Adele asks in return, what are we talking about? Are we talking about survival or are we talking about thriving? Because when she said that, immediately I can relate, because there was one time back, I think 3-4 years, and I tried this low carb diet for a month. Just want to see, how quickly can I lose body fat and etc. And then I signed up for a 10K. So I remember feeling pretty good because it's true, energy level wise is very sustainable. There is no spike and dip. But when I was finishing the 10K run, at the last maybe 1K, I wanted to sprint to finish strong, right? And then in my mind, I was like, okay, come on, let's go. And then my legs are just cruising, kind of like, ding. I was like, wait, I want to sprint. Come on, let's go. And then it just goes, I was like, what's going on? So at that time, I couldn't figured out why, because everything feels good. But when I listen to that episode and how you guys explain it, it makes so much sense, because there is no way that with our muscles, we don't have glycogen, we don't have that sudden ability to create power, to finish strong. So it's very important that, when we talk about, carbs, what are we thinking of? If you really want to thrive, if you really want to perform, then going for a balanced diet is actually the way to go, instead of, just following one. But yeah, that was what I really like about the topic, and would be definitely my favorite. Yep.
Wow, nice. As a nutritionist, how do you feel, Matt?
Okay, yeah, disclaimer, some people can thrive on a low carb diet as well. It just really depends what you are looking for. And obviously for you in that case, you're looking for that burst and you didn't get it. So in your case, going for something more balanced would be great. And yeah, actually it was really interesting because your exact experience, I actually have a sciencey Instagram account that I used to post research topics on. I abandoned it 3 years ago, but I made a post exactly on that, about how being on a low carb diet and on endurance training, you can survive through the endurance training, but the parts of endurance training where you want to speed up, you want to have that last burst of sprint, it just wouldn't be optimized as compared to if you were just having carbs as your fuel. So yeah, it was very nice to hear that from you.
Yes.
Why didn't you just tell me that after the episode? That's okay.
All right, what about you, Peng?
For myself, it will be our very, very first episode itself, the benefits of exercise and nutrition that have nothing to do with weight loss.
13 episodes ago.
Yeah, exactly, 13 ago. Wow.
That's a long time.
I personally felt that when we explored the other significances or the other milestones outside of just weight loss, but don't get me wrong, I'm not discrediting anything to do with weight loss or any fitness related achievements. But sometimes they can overshadow the smaller milestones or achievements that individually each one of us have achieved, but tend to overlook because they are not grand, they are not big, they are not seemingly relevant or significant. Any point from just being able to move pain-free, being able to just take a step without feeling excruciating pain or having the muscle strength to do so, sometimes is a huge achievement and a huge win for all of us. Personal favorite episode.
Yeah, and that has a lot to do with what we're going to talk about today. But before that,
Matt haven't shared.
Yeah, which was your favorite episode?
Mine was actually a more recent one, the one that May did with Luke Lango, Navigating Training with Pain. Yeah, so I mean, it was a good episode to listen to because Luke's a cool guy. Yeah,
Me too.
Okay, yeah, May. I haven't completed my sentence. Yeah, May
Everyone
was.
needs affirmation here.
Good save.
Yeah, May's pretty cool as well, and yeah, but that episode really related to me because me as a runner, so I used to run a bit more competitively last time. Dealing with pain was something which was quite normal before competition or just during a training block. Like, we just don't want to miss the training. We feel like, wow, if we miss training, then I'm going to be 7 days or 2 weeks behind others. So it's like, when it's quite serious or something, we sort of like trick ourselves, like, oh, as long as I can put one foot in front of the other, just jalan only lah, train. And this is a very common mindset of runners. I know friends, clients, and I'm sure all of us who have trained running clients can relate. So yeah, it was something that I really, really related to. And if I were to watch that podcast and relive my running days, I would have felt like, wow, I could have managed it a lot better. But that's okay, because right now, at least with clients who are dealing with this, or even like my running friends, I can educate them a little bit more after this podcast. Yeah.
So what you're trying to say is, when you have pain, you don't just ignore it. You need to. I think that episode really, really helped you to understand the different kinds of pain and when to know what kind of action you need to do.
He gave like a rating of pain, right? At what level do you feel like, okay, I think it's time to do something about it, or what's acceptable? I think that was very, very helpful.
Wow, amazing. It's so nice to hear from all of you, own personal learnings from all of our podcasts. So we've looked back and now we want to look forward, because, you know, the new year is coming. 2024 is not long in front of us. And as we know, in the year end, it's a time to really reflect, celebrate and evaluate, you know, how far we've come in your wellness and your fitness journey. And not forgetting, we also want to prepare to progress in the next year as well, right? All of us want to do better. And today we will be discussing how to set effective health and fitness goals for the new year. Okay, I just want to put a disclaimer. It's not that New Year is the only time you can set goals, okay? You can do this all year round when there is a need, okay? But New Year is a good time. Since everyone is doing it, it's a good time to reset or to reassess where you are, right? Why not? Right? So frankly, we do it all year round with clients, right? Everyone starts and it's never too late to start. And today we're going to share all the insights we've gathered from doing it so often. Why is May laughing?
Later you know lah.
Okay.
Okay, so to kick things off, let's each share a personal fitness breakthrough or a wellness milestone that we personally achieved from this year. I'll start first. Okay, so this year, yours truly was getting married. Yeah, it's a new chapter in my life, right? And also, in order to celebrate my wins this year, which for some might not be big, but at the end of the day, it's what matters to you lah. I have to look back at 2022 as well. 2022 was a year where I took on a new position, new job, steep learning curve to the things that I had to do, and a lot of ups and downs, overwhelming stress, and really fitness, as much as I'm a fitness professional, but fitness was out the window lah for some point. Was not consistent, was not happy as well. It was such a struggle to train. I really felt like a hypocrite at times as well, you know. So I really, really had to sit down and reflect and ask myself, like, why am I feeling all this? Looking at lifestyle factors and looking at my mindset as well, right? And after doing all that work, right, inner work, I realized that, I just have to find my new reason for enjoying exercise again, the same way I felt that enjoyment when I first started in the very beginning, and that same semangat, right? And I might need to adjust my expectations with the season of life that I'm in. Also, I'm so thankful that my husband keeps me accountable and reminds me, and even put it in the marriage vow in front of our friends and family that we must keep each other healthy and fit. So, say already, have to do. So I have to find the ways to do it in a way that I can stay consistent and I can enjoy and I can adjust with the different demands of life. So I managed to do that this year, and I really, really feel proud lah, personally. Like I've now, from last year, inconsistent. Some weeks I don't train, some weeks I only train once, some weeks suddenly 4 times and then drop back down. Really, how to progress in that state cannot lah. You're just doing it just to do it. But now, like, you know, I'm more intentional. I shift the time that I work out as well to mornings, and I feel so much better. Not to leave it at the last thing I do at the end of the day, where I will compromise and I will give in, or I most likely will FFK or so. Right? And performance is much better. Mood is much better. And I'm just really enjoying it. Like, I'm consistent, and that's really the win for me lah. So that's mine.
I want to hear Mei Wei's laugh. Why she laughed earlier.
Okay. So I have to be very honest in this because like the first time when I see the outline of this whole topic,
Means what's here on my laptop.
I panic really like breakthrough. What have I done this year? I have to ask myself. I was like, oh no. The thing is, I'm not a kind of person that really will set a hard goal to achieve. I used to be more intentional, especially like in running and stuff like that. But that season has been a little bit shifted, and especially like last year joining Move, and then, you know, taking on a new role to educate trainers. So all of that does take more energy out of me. So I have to admit that fitness or training was not my priority. And when you asked us to reflect, right, I was thinking, okay, actually last year this time, I was quite tired. So I didn't even have the headspace to think, okay, what would 2023 look like for me? So I was just like, okay, let's just, you know, adapt. So literally there's no tangible goal for me. So when you thought that, okay, you know, we are covering this topic, I was like, oh no, I think I need to stay silent for the rest of the episode.
Remember just now I say, in teaching, you will learn. In learning, you will teach.
Exactly.
So this, you're taking the part now. In teaching, you will learn.
So which is very interesting is because there is a need to shift how I reflect as well. So if you were to ask me about 2023, I don't think there is much going on. But if I were to compare year by year basis, so in 2022, end of the year, last year, and right now, I do feel very different. Very different in the sense that I'm no longer like dreading to wake up, because last year was actually quite tiring.
Right.
Like this year,
So
it's
your
not the
energy
case.
levels.
Yes. Energy level has definitely improved. The way I deal with workload, it's also different. So in
What
that
were the
sense,
behaviors you adapted to get that?
okay, so this is very interesting because I did not set goals intentionally to improve. Sorry, I'm just very
It's okay.
honest.
I will find a way to fix where this is going. Let's go.
Next year.
But I follow the concept. The concept of really just trying to be a little bit better. So I was just be more mindful of not staying up too late and not handling work stuff at night. So that has improved how I sleep. So it was just that little bit of change. And okay, I do wear a tracker to track my sleep. So sometimes it helps me to be more mindful when I have a good recovery. I ask myself, oh, what did I do the night before? And I just try to do those little things that will help me to sleep better. So I guess the one breakthrough that I had was my recovery has definitely improved in that sense. So not fitness performance, but recovery. So it's also part of health. So
And we get to reap the benefits of May being able to recover better. She's less cranky at work. So it's a good thing for everybody. All right, jokes aside. But, you know, I want to tap on what you said. You said that you did not set any goals, right? But you just focus on the concept of being a little bit better than yesterday. But in order to do that, you had to have the intention, right?
the intention and awareness lah. So it does help, like you have something to remind you. You do need to just pay attention and then look at what was reminding you. It's like, oh, is it better? Can I do better?
And was that your watch?
Yes, my work. So I'm actually quite happy when I look through the app, right? And then it usually gives me on a week-to-week data and then month-to-month data. And the stats is actually slowly improving. And what was quite interesting was, okay, so one of the health measure is heart rate variability, HRV. The HRV improved 1 month, and then it drops a little, improve 1 month, and then drops a little. But it's a steadily improvement or progression. So which It makes sense because there are months whereby I do try to do a little bit better, run a little bit more. So those are the months that I think the performance will drop a little bit. But it's interesting to see how the following month, when I really focus on recovery, it does get better. So the expectation of having heart rate variability to be steadily increasing on a month-to-month basis, it's not necessarily true. Sometimes it's okay to see that little drop and improvement. That's actually quite fun, I feel.
Wow.
Look at the stats.
Makes me want to get one as well, but it's okay.
I guess from what you're saying, right, it makes me want to just emphasize that although the topic, yes, is saying setting effective health and fitness goals, but we don't have to be fixated on the word goals, like you go and write down on a paper, my goal is nya, 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 nya. But we have to look back. Before you set a goal, there has to be a strong intention and drive that you want to improve. But it comes from also, if you reverse back a bit, awareness that you need to improve, right?
Yep.
And then just doing the little practices and the awareness daily to monitor a little bit, to constantly check in with yourself and just look at patterns, right? So in a way, you were on a journey of improvement without the word setting a goal there, but you set an intention actually.
Yeah, that's right.
What about the both of you?
Right, I can go for this. For myself, this year was less of a fitness achievement or any particular goal. It was merely managing what I've been doing in terms of fitness, solely to incorporate more of a heavier learning for this year. This year I took more courses, signed up for more workshops and courses effectively. And the intention behind this year, or at least the keyword that I can think of, was merely staying consistent with my fitness routines. That applies to my sleep, my diet and whatnot as well. This is because I knew that I did not want to sacrifice. I did not want to sacrifice my commitments at work. I did not want to sacrifice my capacity to learn. And because of that, that was my why set. My why was set, and the goal was effectively to just keep consistent. What am I studying and what am I preparing for? Well, we'll have more offerings in the year of 2024, so stay tuned for that.
Wow.
To give a little bit of context, so Peng is
To be decided. Precisely to be revealed.
he's so good at setting clarity on the why and the what to do, but he still don't know what he's doing.
It's to be revealed. Create a little suspense for everyone. When we are ready to announce to everyone else, trust me, everyone will be notified.
Okay, curiosity building there.
All right, last, Matthew, share with us.
Okay, so yeah, my achievement this year was actually fitness one. It was actually competing in my first fitness competition in maybe over 3 years. Yeah, and for me that was a big achievement. I didn't get the result I wanted. I wanted to win. It was the combine which was held 2 months ago.
Under Armour combine.
Yeah, so I really wanted to win it. Things came out around the way, but I didn't win. And
Well,
but
what did you rank?
I got 13.
13 out of?
Out of 180. Yeah.
That's not
That's
bad.
massive.
Okay,
That's massive.
That's another story. It's 13 with like an asterisk, but never mind.
Okay.
It's fine. No one needs to know. Okay. But anyways, I really surprised myself in competing for this competition because the last 3 years I've been still keeping fit, doing exercise, but it's like just toned down to what it was before, to what it was like when I was competing as an athlete, runner and everything. So suddenly I was like, okay, I'm just gonna sign up. And then when I signed up, it just like, I just showed up to training. I was training consistently, doing my whole workout. Certainly my diet, my sleeping, my recovery got so much better just because I really, really wanted it. And it really, really surprised myself. So I was really happy with that. 2023, like a bit of doubt coming into it as well. Like, I haven't been keeping myself tip top quite a long time, and then suddenly just by joining it and setting this goal of winning, even though I did not achieve it, looking back at the journey, I was like, wow, that was really impressive on my end. And it goes to the same when it comes to clients and setting goals for clients. I find that goals that are intentional and has a strong why behind it, I feel it's just really important. It provides that direction, and from that direction then you can like sort of map out everything. The now, how do you track this, what's your roadmap, which will be talking on a little bit later. Just by mapping all this out, and then suddenly you have that like motivation, that drive to execute. And I'm going to be very honest, when I first became a full-time PT, personal trainer, a lot of my clients, in the consult, I set the goal for them. And then suddenly we start training, and then the direction just go off until I also forgot what we said in the consultation. Even the client also forgot. Then I just show up, okay lah, do the program. But after some time, I realized that even those clients that I've been training for a while and new clients, when I set intentional goals, sometimes I don't even need to confront them, but just by setting and having a good strong goal with a strong why, strong intention, it was enough to get them to be motivated again about fitness, to take care of their life outside. So so that just shows the importance of, setting goals. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I love that. Definitely. I think that the reason why we are even talking about it today shows how important it is. Like, goals give you a sense of purpose, a sense of clarity in what you can work towards to outgrow your current capacity and current limitations. But most importantly, in all of that, it's the whole process of learning more about yourself. It's not so much of the outcome. Yes, outcomes are worth celebrating, but sometimes even if you don't achieve it, like you didn't win the competition, but you feel a sense of fulfillment and you've learned so much about your capacity, what you're made of throughout the whole process, right? And you can do better again the next round, right? But without it, you had nothing to drive you to just keep improving or to excite you on the journey as well. So, last night I was just preparing for this talk, right?
Last night,
over the week, but yes, last night as well, extra work. I was just reading up on, the importance of setting goals, and I found that, research shows that goal setting is a sign of confidence, commitment, autonomy, and motivation. Let's discuss, why is this so? Or what happens when you don't have a goal? I mean, let's keep to the context of health and fitness lah. Okay? Maybe you want to start?
I think like being intentional about setting a goal is that at least there is a clear sense of direction of what you want to do, what you need to do. Because otherwise, somewhere down the road, you might feel like, so what am I doing this for?
Yeah.
Then, like you say, motivation can get affected. The worst thing is because there is no sense of direction of where are you heading. If let's say there is a tangible outcome that you are looking for, quite likely you are not going to get the result. And then you start to doubt, why am I putting this effort for? So then that it discredit effort. I think that's one thing, that disadvantage of not setting goals is when there is no result, your effort becomes nothing, which is not supposed to be like that. I guess how does it different from where I was, like not setting goal, right? But at least I know at the back of my mind, I will celebrate the effort that I make, even though I don't set a goal.
You were forced to celebrate after I asked you to reflect.
So I'm a very fast learner, you see.
Yeah, you teach. You teach as you learn as you teach, right?
See, I'm practicing, walking the talk. But anyway, I think the word effort, recognizing effort matters. That plays a huge role in terms of motivation and just overall mental health well-being as well. The whole point of exercising is so that we can put in effort, physical effort, and exercising is actually very rewarding because you don't exercise, you don't get anything. But if you put the effort to exercise, your body will get better. Yeah, so that is where I think, yes, setting goal is very important, but also understand why is it so important. Is for me, the second layer is recognizing the effort that you have put in.
That's very, very insightful. What about you, Peng?
So in addition to what May shared earlier about being intentional from showing up, from executing each and everything that you've set forth in your goal, each and every rep, each and every effort to eat better or whatever it is that your goal that was set, the intention was already there. But I'm not going to touch a lot about the intention and the reward that you get. I'm going to go with the part that, Rachel, you briefly mentioned about earlier, which is taking control. Picture this, where when you set a goal and when you execute those goals, it is effectively you taking control of your life. Effectively, you chart a map of where you want to go and what do you want to do, and executing it. It's the most literal translation of taking control of one's life. And for myself, I feel that this is the part where most are, or I would say the most underlooked effort that someone makes.
I would like to rephrase that to even taking ownership
Precisely. If you ever feel that life is a bit of like spiraling out of your control, things are getting out of hand, exercise is perhaps the one tool that you might have that's always within your control, that you can set forth and take ownership on it, like how Rachel shared earlier.
Yeah, and the whole concept of taking ownership, I love that because, like you said, things can get overwhelming. A lot of circumstances can make you feel like a lot of things are out of control and hard to manage. But if you just focus on what is that area that I can do one small thing today to slightly improve where I currently am at, I'm no longer blaming the whole world, the weather, the people around me, my work, my boss, my dog, my cat, but I am putting it back to me. What can I do right now and bring me one step forward from where I currently am at? So I really, really love what you said about, taking control, taking ownership, not blaming, and doing the thing that can bring you towards a breakthrough. And that brings us to the practical segment here. How to set effective goals. Peng, we have a step-by-step process that we use to facilitate goal settings with our clients. Could you share the concepts behind them in a very practical way for our listeners?
Okay, assuming that you've already established your why, that we all shared, the intentions, the why is already set. Now, the next thing that you need to know is know where you are. So know your current baseline. So for example, if it's weight loss related, know your current weight. If it's just improving your overall nutrition or just wanting to eat more vegetables, know how much that you're eating on a weekly basis.
Sure. Why is knowing your baseline so important?
How would I put it? You can't go forward without knowing where you are. Knowing your current compass is the most visual representative of where you are right now. Your current weight is a reflection of, your weight goal, where you want to achieve and where you currently am.
That's very important because it reminds me of like May's, when she said just now, it was at first hard for her to reflect, but she had to correct her way of reflecting and look at where she started in 2022. Then you have something to compare your progress from or your starting point so that you don't discredit the journey, right? Okay.
All right. And then the very next thing you need to think about is making your goal achievable. Achievable, of course, it's subjective, contextual from person to person. But say if your goal is to lose 20 kilos, it might sound ridiculous if it's 1 month. But if it's 20 kilos spread across a full year, okay, that is very achievable, and you set yourself forth to achieve it. It's within your grasp. You can get there.
Can you give examples of not so achievable goals?
Not so achievable goals, precisely like trying to lose 20 kilos in 1 month.
I can give an example. So in the combine, right, there's 7 events or 8 events. So I wrote goals for every event. I achieved nothing.
You're so shy.
What were they?
What were they? Okay. For the pull-ups, I wrote there 22. I did 16. My baseline was 16. Yeah, so that's one. I think bench press, okay, at the time my bench press was like 100 kilos. And I think I wrote there 120. I did 105. So I mean, so just giving some examples. I won't tell you the other events.
Wait, give some context. Why is it not achievable other than the pull-ups, right?
Yeah, I think it's just more like there's 7 events and there's only 4 months to train for. How much better you're gonna get at each, right?
Correct.
So it must be realistic to the time you have for the process of change, right?
Next thing that you want to think of is making your goal bite-sized. What do I mean by that, bite-sized? I like how Matthew shared earlier, where he had 7 events that he wants to effectively PR in or score his personal best, but he only had a time frame of less than 4 months to achieve it. Of course, in other words, spreading himself too thin and not setting bite-sized goals along the way.
And not even considering his other lifestyle
or commitments.
Right?
There we go. Let's just break it down to something a lot simpler. Let's just say if Matthew wants to achieve his 120 kilo bench press, he could have set smaller bite-sized goal from week to week or from month to month. Say instead of a 15 or a 20 kilo jump, what if he can set it to maybe let's try 5 kilo jump within the time frame of 2 weeks? It becomes more achievable.
What other factors other than time frame that you need to consider that makes it achievable?
Like what Rachel cleverly mentioned earlier, commitments. knowing your current commitments, knowing how much effort you can put into it. In other words, translate to knowing how much time that you can put into it. Okay. Of course, we've been talking about fitness related goal, but let's just talk simply on just effort-based work, just doing something. If your goal is to improve your overall diet, adding more fiber might sound very abstract. Okay, how am I going to get more fiber in my daily meals? So I just, out of nowhere, throw in a bunch of salad leaves in my next meal? Not quite. Perhaps on a weekly basis, consider adding just one serving of either vegetable or fruits, and that's a good start. And move on and improve from there. This is what I meant by setting it bite-sized.
Okay.
Last, of course, is be kinder to yourself. Expect that things might go wrong. In the case of Matthew, everything went wrong.
No, he got 13 out of 100.
Exactly. But I'm referring to everything went wrong in terms of his goals, the planning phase. Correct. So even when you plan everything well, and even if circumstances are all in your favor, but always expect the unexpected. Say, for example, the goal was not achieved. Be kinder to yourself. In the case of Matthew, it's good job on scoring 105 kilos out of that 120 kilo bench press, for example. Just be kinder to yourself and celebrate those small little wins, because the smallest degree of effort made will result in a massive change over a period of time. This is true regardless of context.
Yeah, it compounds over time.
Correct.
Yeah? You have a new baseline now that's higher than before.
There we go. Precisely that. And lastly, have a clear roadmap where you like to go and knowing what you want to achieve. Those are effectively the summed up version of the concepts that we apply to effectively get you to your goals or get towards achieving something.
Okay, wait. Just give a brief example of what you mean by setting a roadmap.
Very good question, actually. Setting a roadmap, meaning you need to include the things that we've mentioned earlier, along with commitment, time, knowing where you are, and setting a very achievable goal. Having all of this will allow you to have a bit more clarity and a bit more intentional the next time you're trying to execute an effort to run an extra mile, to eat an extra piece of vegetable. Those become more intentional.
I think part of road mapping is also prioritization, right? Because all of us will have a baseline where we know, so many things we need to do in order to achieve the final outcome.
Correct.
Right? Let's say weight loss even, right? It's not only exercise, it's also nutrition, it's also your recovery, it's also stress management. So, if everything is out of whack, then you'll just be overwhelmed, right? I got so many things I need to do with my limited time frame, limited capacity. So having a roadmap also introduces the concept of prioritization. What can I start with now and work towards? Okay, introduce the next one into my plan of achieving the final outcome. And which brings me to say also, what I feel will be very, very effective also is to not only set achievement goals or outcome-based goals, but also to have behavioural goals, right? That support the outcome goal. So you can have, a clear why. I want to lose this achievable amount of weight in this realistic time. That's the outcome goal. So then you break it down further. What are the outcome goals in between that I want to slowly check off on my roadmap, on my journey towards that final destination?
Correct.
Right? So you can celebrate so many wins in between as well. Yeah. So anything else you want to add?
One more thing I would like to add is to summarize, I think in setting effective goals, the first thing is always understanding your baseline and then making sure the goal that you set is achievable, is like bite-sized in a way. It's like, and then one more is just being kind to yourself in terms of bad days here and there. Just adjust for it, move on, and then do better the next day. And then lastly is obviously to have a roadmap how to achieve it. Personally, for myself, I feel that it's really hard to sit down with yourself and plan it out. So for me, you can clearly see in this example is these goals were planned by myself. Even me as a coach with clients, I will consider all these things. I'll be a little bit more conservative. I'll look into them, like what they tell me. I'm like, if you want to achieve this, you probably have to train 4 times a week, but you don't have enough time for
It's
that.
so funny.
Yeah.
We are our worst client, you know. Like when it comes to ourselves, it's like Stimpy plan. But then clients, we have to really get into the analytical, practical mode. It's so funny.
To put it in short, like if you're having struggles like me, setting goals, it's okay to reach out for a coach. And even for myself, I've recently, knowing my pattern already, I know, okay, I need to set a goal or competition, join a competition. So that's actually what I did. So next year I signed up for my first powerlifting competition.
Nice.
And knowing my mistakes from before, I know now, okay, I've got a coach to do it. To help me set the goals and everything. And the exact same thing happened. He was like, oh, what are your expectations for certain lift?
We see a pattern with Matthew here.
I want to bench 150, 200. Let's go. It's like, okay, tone down. How long do we have? Yeah.
Seems achievable.
Yeah. So as much as like, hearing this or all these things here and there, smart goals, going through this. But suddenly when it comes to myself, it just goes out the window. Yeah.
So perhaps one of your goals next year is to improve in this area of realistic goal setting, realistic process and behavioural goals.
I think it's okay to outsource to another coach.
That's
I mean, us as coaches or trainers, we are still human. If we are putting so much capacity to think on behalf, I think we can be kinder to ourselves too. That we don't have to always be, on our own back, just, delegate the task to someone else. It's better that way.
That's wisdom right there.
Maybe that way May can have a goal next year already.
So we share this openly and very, very honestly so that we can be kept accountable as well. And like I said, in teaching, we learn and, I hope we all learn from this episode along with you guys. And next year, 2024, all of us can hear stories of improvement. Right? So as we wrap up this season, we really like to extend our deepest gratitude to each and every one of you listeners out there. You've made this journey truly special and truly fulfilling for all of us. And, we can't wait to come back next year in 2024 with more improvements in, our delivery, our topics, even the guests that we bring on. And it's really, really something we look forward to. So stay tuned for the next season in 2024, where we'll continue to give you practical lessons and inspiration to help you improve your overall quality of life. From all of us at Move Private Fitness, we wish you a fantastic and health-filled year ahead. Remember, it's all about moving well, living more, and may your journey be as incredible as you are. We'll see you guys in 2024. Bye!
See you guys. 2024.